First of all, let me say peace and black power to the brothers and sisters who belong to whatever camp that check these videos that we post and derive some measure of competent philosophical content from these posts. It's come to my attention that some videos that I made and some comments that I made are being used as attack vehicles to attack different positions that various camps hold or espouse to. Specifically, I'm speaking about King Noble Black Ruler or rulership or whatever this brother's calling his postings. But the brother's ripping videos from Sanetta's camp with me in them and using them to attack other groups. You know, now do what you gotta do. I don't have a problem with that, because when I make public statements, I understand that they are public statements and people can take them and take them out of context, leave them in context, and do what they want with them, just like anybody else. I don't see myself as special. I don't see myself as better than anyone else. In fact, you will note that on more than one occasion, I point out to people that my name is Brother Larry. Not professor, not teacher, not scholar, not scientist, Brother Larry. I claim to be the average, ordinary brother in existence. I don't claim to be the great one. I don't claim to be the second coming of the first coming of the one who came before, because that's just stupid, right? Now, hold on, because you know how I am. It's like a tomb in here. That's better. Now I can get my flow going. What I want to say is, you guys need to stop the bullshit. That would be you, King Noble, and that would be anybody else who's on the same bullshit. I noticed that you used a video where I said that being God is childish. That would be being a supremacist is childish as well, especially when you view the terrain or you survey the horizon and you find yourself in a less than flattering position governmentally, economically, socially. You find yourself in a less propitious environment than, say, I don't know, the people that you call it devils and enemies, right? And that's not to say that you have to envy these individuals because of the possessions that they have. What you have to do really is understand that it's a different culture. So in the culture from which we derive, there was a standard of living, a methodology of existence that is markedly different or markedly different than other cultures elsewhere. When you look at China and you see the architectural design of the houses and how Chinese architects develop a means whereby which they address the needs of their people, right? And probably made a lot of money at the same time, but the fact of the matter is, when you look at the West, or what's now known as the European civilization, and you look at African, or what's called African civilization, and you see the manifestations of people's building, like on the continent of Africa, they used a lot of fractal geometry to build with, that European scholars are becoming aware of and appreciate the complex simplicity of the design. It's natural. It's like bees. You understand? Bees use fractal geometry in order to make honeycombs, right? So that fractal geometry is actually a more natural, more earthbound scientific development that occurred in the continent of Africa. So you have individuals who look down on these cultures, these mud brick cultures. Mind you, mud brick. People have developed science where they can make bricks from mud. Now, you might say, well, they living in mud huts. You know, I've even commented on that on occasion when people get on my nerves, right? I point a finger at them and tell them about stuff that they do or stuff that they say. Like I'm kind of pointing my finger at King Noble right now, because what King Noble is doing is divisive, okay? So he's not actually building, he's on the attack, right? Now, to be honest and to be fair, somebody buzzed me with some so-called information about King Noble, and I don't know King Noble. I don't know what King Noble's about. I tend not to be a joiner of movements, you understand? Because I regard anything that's not making progress as stagnation, and if it's stagnation, I don't have to stand still with anybody. I can stand still by myself, right? Brother Larry says that at some point in time, we are going to have to approach our issues in a more thought out, more adult manner. That means that calling people names, who cares if you call them a name? As long as they're in charge, as long as they're economically viable, as long as they have the military and the goddamn guns, they could care less what you call them. I'm gonna tell you the truth, right? So calling them names doesn't advance our cause. Calling yourself God does not advance our cause. Why? Because the majority of people on the planet who believe in the concept of God don't believe that you are that concept, right? So for you to take valuable time and resources attempting to convince somebody else that your view of reality is better than their view of reality is a waste of time, it's a waste of resources, and it's just foolish. Somebody commented on this video, King Noble, that you're like a suicide bomber who blows up the enemy, but you blow yourself up at the same time. Now, I thought that was kind of funny, right? Which is why I repeated it. And the point of it is, you used the video and you said that Brother Larry smashes the Nation of Gods and Earths on 125th Street. But you call yourself God. So if I smashed him, I smashed you too, because that's just ridiculous. You are not God. You are not the concept of God. You are not who the ancients were thinking about when they came up with the concept of God. This is about societal control. This is about institutionalized organizational control of a society. And that's where this concept comes from. And at a time in the remote past when people were eking out their livings trying to carve up some ground and grow stuff on it, knowing specific astronomical information was vitally important to the maintenance of the community. So individuals who made observations, individuals who kept the records of those observations became powerful. They also became your priesthoods, right? So that the power was stored in the vessels, the priesthoods, right? And the priests, well, you know, they were prophets, which is a Greek word, prophetis, which means one who speaks for God, right? So these individuals postulated themselves as intercessors between ordinary men and God. That's where your priesthood come from. That's classic middleman economic strategy, to place yourself between the user and the producer, and you skim off the top, take your cut. That's being a middleman. Now, I gotta tell you, the most successful middlemen in existence happen to be those Jews that you guys be talking about, those European Jews. They are classic middlemen. They have this entire system set up in that regard, okay, between the consumer and the producer comes the middleman. Insurance is like that. Insurance is a classic middleman venture, right? Between, say it's auto insurance, between driver A and driver B. There's the insurance company, that's the middleman. So if driver A gets into a dispute with driver B, driver A doesn't have to bash driver B upside the head. Driver A can file an insurance claim to recover damages for lost property. You understand? Or personal injury. That is middleman stuff. God is middleman stuff. Priests are middleman stuff. You position yourself between the worshiper and the object of worship, and you regulate that inside space. You regulate that and say, okay, this is the methodology whereby which we're going to worship. Whether it's Muslims praying 5 times a day, and you notice that all Muslims pray the same way, so that's something that they learn how to do in order to belong to that particular sect. You'll notice that Christians have established rituals. There's praise dancing, there's gospel singing, but you know that this is what's going on because it has the same manifestation everywhere. Now, when you look at cultural differences between groups doing the same thing, I don't know, say European Christians and our Christians, right? You'll notice that there's a marked difference. That's the culture imposing itself on the thing. So our Christians, when they sing, they sound like black people singing. It's like gospel music. It's hip. White people say, oh, Jesus, it's kind of flat. Those are cultural differences. But people, they point to these cultural differences and say, well, we're greater than you because we sing better, we dance better. And these other people, we're greater than you because we understand financial markets better. No, what it is cultural differences, right? And when you mesh a whole lot of cultures together, the most significant aspects of one culture tends to stand out over the less significant aspects of another culture. And when you are in an exploitive position in a culture, right, and you're looking at another culture and they look like they have an advantage, makes you want to go join that culture with the advantage. This is why you have people in cultural confusion right now. They look like you, they act like them, they look like them, they act like you. It's cultural confusion, and it is a product of proximity, because prior to these cultures being in close proximity, they were totally different. You can see this in the cultural manifestations in the various places where the people come from. The houses look different, the languages are different, the foods are different, the way that they behave are different, even the activities that they engage in their leisure time. Over here they play football that we call soccer. Over here they play football with shoulder pads and they run into you with big 300-pound bodies. You understand? It's a different cultural manifestation. And to see it as anything other than a different cultural manifestation is a bit foolish, childish, and disingenuous. And I really don't care if King Noble takes videos and uses them for his own purpose, because you know me, I'm Brother Larry. The only thing I'm concerned with is the way that you treat each other, the way that you regard each other, and the way that you regard yourself. Stop calling yourself names. Stop calling yourself out of your name. When you look to your brother or your sister, look to them like you look at your brother or your sister, like somebody that you love or somebody that you at least like. That would be translated and radiated to other environments too.